After Ty West made Mia Goth a star in Pearl and X, can he repeat and create a superstar, a triple A star, a triple X star? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Maxine, the third film in the Maxine franchise directed by Ty West. Alright, so here's an anticipated film I was really excited to see. Maxine, of course, is technically the third film or the last film in a trilogy of a character named Maxine Miller, or Maxine Minx in this movie, who of course is once again played by Mia Goth, and it tells the story of how Maxine escaped and survived the incident at Pearl's farm and now is trying to make it as a actress, as she's always wanted to do. She, of course, is working in adult films at the moment, and she's trying everything in her power to star in a film to garner a status and become a AAA movie star. And in the process, there's a night stalker. There is detectives that are trying to investigate the night stalker, and there's murders that happen because this is a slasher film. But in the process, all the people who are dying are related or know Maxine pretty closely. So on top of everything, you get a private detective who's played by Kevin Bacon. You get, of course, a director who's played by Elizabeth Debicki. And you get what is Ty West's version of an 80s horror slasher film in a lot of respects. So take that for what it's worth. So I was hugely anticipating this movie. Pearl, I consider pretty amazing. I think Mia Goth should have gotten an Oscar nomination. I think she gives a tour de force performance in that movie. I think X is really good, but I think Pearl is like a different level of filmmaking, to be fairly honest. But X had a lot of fun. It was a good, kind of 70s Texas Chainsaw type of film in a lot of respects. So I really appreciate what Ty West has done there. But the biggest thing that come out of it is the fact that Mia Goth, who's been kind of working her way through, the world of filmmaking and movies and stuff like that, has really garnered a pretty competent status as somebody who can do varying levels of degree of acting. And she's gotten to a point where she is so underrated and so amazing at what she does that even in the worst films in the world, she is the best part of that movie. And so I was really looking forward to this. I love the fact that we're doing like a complete take on 80s slasher films. And it was something that I was once this series, to be fairly honest, has been a huge shock to begin with. For the simple fact that X came out, Ty West, who's known for doing like the Innkeepers and the House of the Devil and stuff like that. And then he springs on this fact that he did this movie called Pearl that is a prequel that they filmed in secret. And then after Pearl, they announced they're doing a third movie called Maxine. It's just been a wild ride. And so with that said, I was really anticipating this movie. And so for my honest review, and this is going to be an interesting one, Maxine is a very underwhelming movie. It's actually quite a disappointment, and I have to say this and get this out of the way. Maybe my anticipation level was a little too high for this film. Maybe that this film is trying to be too 80s slasher, too Ty West, offbeat type of film, that maybe it's just not meant for me, to be fairly honest. Maybe there is people out there that like this type of film, which I think there are. But I think this film's main problem is it has too many character threads. It's trying to do too many interesting ideas at once, that each plot point, each scenario, each thing that Maxine's character goes through is completely laid by the wayside. Like I said, the story of her becoming a star, with her getting a role on a major motion picture. But there's the idea of people around her being killed and how she's being pursued by detectives who are played by Michelle Monaghan and of course Bobby Cannavale. Then you have like her story with dealing with her past, and you have Kevin Bacon coming in as this private detective who's working for this individual, maybe possibly causing the murders. And there is so much that happens in this movie, and so many ideas and situational stuff being presented for an hour and 44 minutes, that it just becomes too stacked with stuff, and it becomes overstuffed, and it becomes to the point where nothing is really cohesive. Like the only thing cohesive is how good Mia Goth is in this role as Maxine Minx, and she is really good. She is the most fully fleshed out character. She has the most fun in this movie. She's the one just kind of keeping this movie from being a complete disaster, and she really does work. It's just everything around her. It's her friends and her family and her the detectives and everybody else, the Kevin Bacon character. It just they don't feel very cohesive. They feel like play toys that don't really get much to do, and it becomes too much, to be fairly honest. This aesthetic of this world, the idea of like a killer, which is very much an 80s aesthetic, and we're very much what we go through when, in this situational awareness of America, and the look of this movie, the 80s griminess, the fact that Ty West doesn't hold anything back when he comes and he makes us look at how disgusting and perverted and perverse Hollywood truly is. I mean, you see the glitz and glamour, but the stuff that people do to get to where they are, especially major actors and actresses and stuff like that, this is the type of movie that shows that it is not all not all glamour and glitz. It's very seedy and very disgusting and very, you don't want to touch anything. Like, she touches many different things in this movie, and it just feels like she just should have hand soap on her. It's a well, slickly done looking movie, but it's just not a very competent movie when it comes to that. I think it struggles under the weight of anticipation for how good X and Pearl were, that I don't think Ty West was able to wrap it up very well. I don't think he was able to complete the story very well. There are twists that happen in this movie that can feel very contrived and very just kind of weird. I don't know. It feels like weird for weird's sake. So it's a movie that really just kind of baffled me a little bit, to be fairly honest. And it's just, I kind of hate when I go into a movie that I'm so excited for and I'm out completely disappointed. And there are people that like this movie. Like, I get it. It's, it's a slasher movie. There are things that happen that, if you've seen the other Ty West movies, that it's very graphic. It has very interesting kind of kills and stuff like that. But there's got to be more. Like I said, like condense or like take down the amount of characters in this movie. You have so many famous people. You have Giancarlo Esposito, who plays the agent of Maxine, and I liked his performance, but he just kind of disappears into the crowd, and it's just like, you have all these great actors. You have, like I said, Elizabeth Debicki and Kevin Bacon, who I think he actually gets the most to do in this movie, like, outside of Maxine. But then you have the cops, Bobby Carnival and Michelle Monaghan, and they really just don't have anything to do in this movie. They're barely in this movie, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know what happened here. I don't know if it was just the idea of the stress of, like, the anticipation thing. I don't know if it's just Ty West wanting to go in some really wacky territory of a David Lynchian style film. I don't know, but it just, once it gets to its conclusion and once you see what it's truly about, all the strings that are slowly fraying away, they just completely give away. It's like when you walk on a bridge and the bridge is so collapsible that if you walk 3 steps, it's just going to completely fall to the ground. That's unfortunately what happens in Maxine, and I really wanted more out of this movie. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it is a complete disappointment for this trilogy. And I've heard rumblings, and I've seen rumblings in the new, or in the internet about possibly Ty West doing a 4th film, and I'll gladly go see it. I just hope it's better than what he and Mia Goth and all the crew produced here, because there are some really interesting ideas. The idea of, like, how just decrepit and disturbing Hollywood can be, and the ideas and levels that you're willing to do to get there. But overall, complete disappointment of a movie, just not something I enjoyed. So that's my take on Maxine, something that I was anticipating and just didn't like. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that's gonna be my take on Maxine. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below, what is your favorite film in this franchise? Did you like Maxine? Let me know in the comments why. If you didn't, let me know as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top to find what's coming next. If you like the video, awesome, hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.